is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unscrupled, covering Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 5, Episodes 14 and 15, Crush, and I Was Made for You. In these episodes, men are trash. Welcome to Unscrupled.
Man, are men trash today.
Men are fucking terrible.
The fuck, guys? Like, oh my god. I think the only guy that wasn't problematic was Giles.
I mean, there's Brian.
Which one was Brian?
Joyce's boyfriend, who's not yet on screen.
We only have Joyce's word for that, and women forgive a lot on when they're in the blush of love.
Yeah, I know. Women are way too fucking forgiving. So someone put out recently, it's like, hey, guys, in order to be a good man, you need to, treat your woman nice and have good, and be an adult and have good hygiene. And most of you rarely have more than two of those. So don't tell us that that our standards are too high. So. Yeah,
it's true. I read there was this meme, that was pretty much just a dude being like, guys, women are super easy. All you have to do is hold them. And they will do anything for you. They will cook for you. They will clean for you. They'll have your kids. All you gotta do is hold them sometimes. And that's it. Seriously, that's all it takes. And dudes were like, whoa. You mean physical contact that's not humping? The fuck, man? That's revolutionary. It's seriously, guys?
I feel like that's a really low bar to clear. I feel like that takes a lot more.
And yet, there was a whole bunch of guys who hadn't figured it out.
Did you get any pushback from women? It's like, no, you should be better than just holding me every once in a while.
I think I remember, some ladies being like that, but for the most part, women being just like, yeah, that's kind of exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who's going to offer me physical comfort and stuff, and I would be super grateful for that. Now, none of these women were like my friends, who are generally
it also
super empowered.
Speaks to how terrible men are. That's a fucking that's a big deal.
Yeah, pay physical attention to me when we are not having sex. Yeah.
So, trash men in this episode, we have Spike.
First and foremost.
Spike is, not evolved into a character that I like. The more I learn about how he works, the more I'm just like, fuck you. We have Warren.
Yeah.
And we have, we don't know anything about Brian.
Yeah.
Xander is just kind of there being his normal goober self.
And, yeah, super duper goober in this one. Kind of way too interested in Dawn having a crush on him for my comfort. But only a little squirt.
No, I get that. That's a big, ego drainer.
Yeah.
It's someone likes you, and when they've moved on, you're like, well, shit. Maybe I don't have it anymore. You can't help but question, am I just not attractive anymore? Because Dawn is really low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And if she's not interested, then you're like, oh.
Well, why would you be interested in Xander when you have a big, bad, handsome, weird-haired vampire around?
Anya, answer this question.
Anya's not 14 and stupid.
But she's not interested in Spike, but she is interested in Xander, and that's the question I need her to answer.
Yeah, I think we all want to know the answer to that. Really, Anya?
But then again, Riley and Buffy made sense on paper, so maybe Anya and Spike just wouldn't.
Yeah, they don't have chemistry. I mean, maybe they could.
They do have a shared perspective, which I think is important.
Right.
So, yeah, anyway. Spike reveals his crush to Buffy.
Yeah, and he does it in such an entitled way. He's like, no, you have to acknowledge there's a thing between us. And she's like, no, really. I'm sorry you got a boner for me, but there's nothing on this side.
I'm not sure I believe her.
Even if you don't believe her, he still should be like, okay, I realize it. He's evil. And therefore expecting him to respect her wishes and walk the fuck away is asking
I'm not
lot.
saying he's not trash. Right. It's just like, I don't know. Buffy's had a lot going on in her head recently.
Oh, yeah. And if she could just, like, hate fuck it out, I think that would do everyone a world of good. But she hasn't sunk that low yet.
Yeah, maybe not. So, we get the return of Drusilla, but no Darla.
No Darla. I think Dru went on a field trip to try and wrangle her spiky boy, and Darla probably wanted nothing to do with it.
We also get the return of Harmony.
Yeah, Harmony's been in and out for a hot minute, though.
I just, like, here's what kind of bothers me. There's a lot of ancillary relationships with Spike going on here. We've got Drusilla, we've got Harmony, and we've got Buffy. Mm-hmm. And all three of them are here, but nothing of consequence comes from this confrontation. Mm. So it feels like a waste of my fucking time.
Well, Drusilla showed up and didn't get to take Spike home, but, like, you're right, that doesn't change our situation at all.
And it would be one thing if this was the exit for Drusilla, where she would end up dying in this fight, or even fucking Harmony, who I don't know what fucking use she's serving here. Because it's not even funny at this point.
What,
it's
her being
dumb.
super pathetic?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's there to serve as a contrast so that when the other people in the show make stupid mistakes or decisions, it doesn't look as stupid in comparison to how epically dumb Harmony is.
But it also draws a contrast that here are, we've had a lot of episodes where Buffy deals with things as they come up, and she's sort of got things steady now. There's no more Riley drama. Her mom is home. Dawn has seemed to not be acting out anymore. Now's the time you might want to pursue some of those leads, and knowing that Drusilla and Harmony are still out there causing shit and not doing anything about it when they've both been such a fucking problem, it bothers me that there's nothing on Buffy's side that says we need to take care of these problems.
Buffy's got a problem, and it's Glory. And how exactly would Buffy find out that Drusilla and Darla were back? And also, side note, why would she care?
See, the thing is, we go into another episode where it clearly, like, we have... This wasn't filmed out or aired out of order. Right. Like, the air is clear between... Not clear, but, like, the secrets are known between Spike and Buffy. Right. But she treats these two very real threats as nothing. She's like, well, I'll just let them get away and not mention it.
Well, Darla's not there.
I'm not talking about Darla. I'm talking about Drusilla and Harmony.
Okay. So, Drusilla is, as far as Buffy's concerned, yes, a major player in the vampire world, but still just a vampire. She can't kill them all. She keeps trying, but...
Given their history, given that Drusilla is the one who killed Kendra, I feel like she has more emotional stakes here.
Okay, so how is she supposed to track Drusilla?
I don't know. They're supposed to acknowledge that, yes, Drusilla is back and this is a thing, and not pretend that the last episode didn't happen.
But Drusilla bailed. She's out of town.
That doesn't mean that everything vanishes from memory.
Well, no. And
that's my problem with it. It's like this, we have...
There's no scene of Buffy angsting about it?
Drusilla killed Kendra, and Harmony nearly killed Dawn. These are two things that Buffy would really be itching to settle the score with. And yet, at the end of this fight, she just sort of stands there and lets them walk away. It's like the writers forgot that there's any history between these people.
Ah, I see. Buffy should be trying to claw their faces off.
Or at least acknowledge that, like, let's keep an eye out for Drusilla. I want that bitch dead. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Harmony. So these are real personal stakes for Buffy. And I don't like that it's just, oh, well, Drusilla's not in the next episode, so we're just not going to bother mentioning it.
Okay. That's a legitimate complaint. So what did you think of Spike's kind of ridiculous attempts to woo Buffy?
This is where I kind of, honestly, this feels like a conversation that needs to happen between Spike and Angel. Because both of them have hundreds of years and long-term relationships to think and compare to. And it doesn't feel like, as long as Spike has known Buffy, like, you know how when you're a kid and 5 minutes in the car is fucking forever?
Yeah.
Because you only have X amount of minutes in your lifetime to compare them to?
Right.
Spike has only known Buffy for 2 years. So that should be just a blip. He should be barely knowing her at this point.
Yes. Like, barely acknowledging her. Right.
So I want someone else with that kind of time span to sit down and bro talk it out with him, where he can actually explore his feelings. But more, I don't know how to evaluate vampire love.
Okay. So
things mean things differently when you have a potential eternity to deal with. Like, it's, as much as I'm not a fan of Tolkien, I do like where he says elves take a lot longer to make decisions because they have a lot longer to live with them.
Yeah. That's all fair, and I agree that in the grand scheme of vampires, this suddenly, oh my god, I'm in love with you, is stupid.
Yeah.
But the thing that pisses me off is that this is completely out of character for any incarnation of Spike that we have known thus far. We have seen human Spike pathetically chasing after a girl, and yes, he was kind of similarly pathetic, but he, like, tried to woo with actual wooing things. It wasn't, let's sit in my car and be on a stakeout that I made up. It was like, let me write you some poetry that's terrible, but I'm trying.
I don't know that I can trust Spike's feelings, and I'm not saying he's being dishonest or the writers are being stupid. It's just this needs to be worked out before it turns into I love you, kiss me, you know?
Yeah, he kind of skipped those steps. And the thing is, Spike is a way more nuanced character than they're letting him be. Like, seriously, this is the phase of Spike's evolution that I refer to as the woobification of Spike. And
funny that we're talking about the woobification of Spike when he literally kills people in this.
Yeah, he does. Oh, actually,
Drusilla does it, but he doesn't, like, do anything to stop it. He is just as culpable.
Well, yeah, he's evil. But he then turns around and threatens to kill Drusilla to prove his love.
Yeah, and that's something, like, it was kind of the same problem I had with Angel staking Darla back in the day. It's like, I'm going to compare this bitch, the same bitch that I just met,
What's so
to this
magic
relationship.
What's so magic about Buffy?
And Buffy is
she's
not
just a special.
No, she's not.
She's a slayer. Of course she's special.
But there's nothing about her, like, she doesn't have some kind of curse from Venus that, like, makes everyone want to fall. Like, there are other women in the world, guys. I know you've met more impressive women than this. Maybe not physically and fighting, but you have met, you know, women.
Cordelia.
Women who are smarter than Buffy. Women who are better looking than Buffy. Women who have better chemistry with you than Buffy.
Women who are funnier and all kinds of stuff.
And not a teenager.
And not a teenager. That's very important. Yes, I absolutely agree. Buffy's not magic. She's not special beyond, like, an average specialness, except for the whole Slayer thing.
It's like that one piece of the Mary Sue that Joss Whedon just can't get rid of.
Oh, everyone wants this girl.
Yes, and have we, other than Giles, has there been a single male that has stuck around that did not have a giant thing for Buffy?
Oz.
Does Oz count?
He stuck around for several seasons. He made main cast.
Okay.
Yes. Let's see. Who else?
The only one I can think of is Jonathan. But I'm not convinced there wasn't a crush going on there.
Oh, Jonathan. Who's to say with him?
Larry? Larry's dead and gay, so
yes.
It doesn't count.
Larry is dead and gay. Well, Warren doesn't seem to want her.
Warren's barely in this.
Warren's barely a sentient being.
And it's kind of, like, that's kind of why it's so shocking that we have this one episode where Spike is telling her about his feelings.
Yeah.
And he's clearly idolizing her because he doesn't know her as well as he thinks he does.
No.
Whereas Warren, surprisingly, is the more mature one here, where he built a robot that he could fucking cuddle, but he realized that's not really what he wants, and he meets a woman who actually has opinions and a personality and things that... And he enjoys learning about this person. He decides that's more his ball.
Yeah. And I actually, like, until he abandons his robot, I kind of, it's like, okay, yeah, you're lonely, so rather than raping women, you just make your own sex bot. That's better than hurting actual people. Okay, fuck your toaster, it's fine.
As someone who watches Westworld and played Soma, I kind of felt for the robot here. And I kind of feel like what he thought was going to happen was probably the best way out of this. Let her batteries run down.
Yeah, and then she never has to know he left her, and, you know, she's dormant.
Yeah, he can shut her off. She'll never be the wiser.
But why couldn't he just turn her off? There's got to be a button.
She would know that, her last thought would be him killing her.
Or... her last thought is him telling her, okay, it's time to go to sleep for a while now. And then going to sleep for a while and maybe being disassembled. Like, it's
possibly
like putting down a kitten.
Are we? No. We're not going there. There's been enough death in this episode. Like, we're not talking about kittens. So.
Instead we're talking about him letting Buffy beat her to death? Great.
I mean, he didn't plan it that way. It's like... In all things, I don't think Warren is really a despicable person. He's a stupid person. He doesn't know things.
He doesn't see women as
But he's not
people.
cruel. He does see women as people. He doesn't see the robot as a person.
The way he talked to his girlfriend, oh my god, I almost reached through the television and smacked him. Fellas, if I ever see you telling a woman to shut up in seriousness, I'm gonna reach through the TV and smack you. I'll find a TV to reach through. Even if you're standing next to me.
Did he tell her to shut up when he wasn't under duress?
Don't care. 1000% don't care.
If there's a robot coming to kill you, I'm going to tell you to shut up so she can't hear you. Like, you're going to have to accept that.
He wasn't doing it so she couldn't hear him. He was doing it so that he could talk to Buffy without being interrupted.
Okay, I don't remember that. But It's a mark against him. Warren's not a good person, but I don't think he's a cruel person.
Who's to say?
The fact that he didn't, reprogram her to be his slave means something.
She was already his slave. He just stopped wanting to fuck her. You think he stopped having her do his shorts when he stopped putting it to her?
I feel like when he stopped putting it to her, he's like, okay, this is over. Anyway, we haven't finished talking about Crush yet.
That's true. Crush was just basically uninteresting.
I know, and it's hard, like, I don't like what's happened to Drusilla. Where's the Drusilla that killed Kendra, the one that I was afraid of?
Yeah.
I feel like since her return, they've kind of regressed her and kind of infantilized her. And I got it when she first came on board in that, okay, she's very weak and there's something wrong with her and they need to fix that. But they fixed that and she's still incredibly codependent. Yeah,
she is in general. That's one of her character traits.
That is not a strong character trait.
She's not a strong character.
It's not very helpful, Joss. This is why it's one of the reasons I never wanted to call you a feminist, because I saw some things that Yeah. Even your minor characters need to not be terrible.
Some people are terrible, though.
So, I mean, like,
that is
terribly
life.
written.
Okay. So I know you want Drusilla to be super strong and stuff, but what if she just isn't
I don't want her entire thing to be I need a man. And that's really what's going on here.
Okay. Now
there is nothing else going on with her.
That's accurate.
Yeah, it's like even when she was with Darla, it's all about her getting the family back together because she wants her. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of I'm getting the band back together.
I like that idea too, but I don't like that it's because she doesn't know how to be alone.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. She doesn't know how to be alone though.
So yeah, Drusilla, I'm just not liking her presence. I don't feel it speaks very well to the writing staff and their imaginations.
No. But I have to say her fashion, makeup, and hair are on point.
I wish they could take the well-rounded characters and give them good fashion.
Yeah.
Because Buffy and Willow have terrible fashion. But they're strong, well-rounded, dynamic characters, whereas Tara and Drusilla are one note, and yet they dress well.
Yes. And on that note, what did you think of Spike's wardrobe change?
I don't remember. What did he do?
Oh, he, had a button down under, over a gray t-shirt and then a leather coat that wasn't his normal duster.
Uh-huh.
It was just down to about hip length. Like the one Angel wears. Okay. And, yeah, he just looked schlubby and not his, dark, smoldering self. The idea, I guess, was that he was supposed to be dressing up for Buffy somehow or trying to look less like the big bad or something.
I guess I didn't notice it because we've had such a personality change in Spike since we've met him.
Yeah, motherfucker needs to have a reflection so he can see how stupid he looked.
I know. Yeah. So Drusilla shows up and she says, I want you back. And they're going to the Bronze, of all places. There's got to be we need to open another nightclub in Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay.
And we'll have an apartment in the back so that it'll be a home and vampires can't come in.
Yeah, I'm not moving there. I had my chance to move to Rancho Cucamonga with Mary, and I didn't do it for her, and I'm not doing it for you.
That's the right decision.
I think so too.
I feel like it would make a lot of money though.
Oh yeah, totally. Because
we'll have our glass cutting business.
Yes, we'll have our glass cutting business.
Our casket making business.
And our club.
Our sharp wooden objects business.
Our magic shop.
There's already a magic shop.
We'll have a competing magic shop.
I don't want to have to deal with competition. I want,
I don't want to have to deal with Anya. She's cutthroat, man.
Yeah, Anya's kind of a problem.
Yeah, she would cut a bitch. But yeah.
They go to the Bronze. They kill a nice young couple. Drusilla actually does the deed, but then Spike is clearly turned on and drinks the blood. So in this universe, they can drink dead blood and it's fine.
Well, maybe her heart hadn't quite stopped beating yet. But in Spike's psyche, bitch was dead.
I just remember Interview with a Vampire where, it was a big deal where...
Yeah, that was a whole plot point.
Yeah. But then also it means nothing because Lestat was fine. So...
Well, he was fine eventually. He was not... He was not cool for a hot minute.
Well, he was kind of choking. And then she cut his throat.
Spilling out all of the poisoned blood. So she kind of saved his life a little bit.
Okay.
And then did she lock him away or did she set him on fire?
They tossed him in the swamp.
Oh, okay.
So that's just kind of, yeah, I didn't like that part because it's you have all these rules for how vampires are supposed to exist, but they don't seem to apply to Lestat because you have such a gay boner for him that he has to survive and be fine.
Yeah, that whole series was problematic on many, many levels, but it was fun.
Sure.
Yeah, it was.
And it's they told us a whole bunch of things, don't go out during the day. Don't drink dead blood.
Yeah, the thing where Spike is always running around with a blanket being on fire. That's so, like, it was fun once, guys. That was cool once.
You could write it off, because Blade had already aired at this point, and you could just, like, have a bunch of tubs of economy-sized sunblock in Spike's mausoleum, and it could explain it.
Yeah, or, like, a parasol. Like, what's with the ratty blanket? Spike's better at shit than this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And both him and Angel do a lot of running around in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't seem to take any real damage from it, so...
Yeah, also the thing where the blanket was on fire, but he wasn't. That makes no fucking sense, guys.
Was there a hole in it? I don't know.
Wouldn't it just hit his stupid jacket?
I don't know.
Anger.
So...
Yeah, this whole episode start to finish is just like, let's rewrite Spike and also suck at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. And... that said, it was totally entertaining, but, like, I really hate the direction that it took everybody in.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, absolutely none of it was referenced in the next episode except for Spike's crush.
Right, and this I don't really feel like we gained anything here. Like, what are the ramifications? Like, Drusilla's gone.
Yep.
So, we're back to status quo there. I guess Harmony and Spike are no longer together, but we don't really see much of Harmony anyway.
Yeah, we got to see... Oh, there was Ben. We got to see Buffy flirt with Ben for a hot minute. We totally forgot about Ben, because Ben is totally forgettable.
So, Dawn knows that Ben is Glory.
Does she, though?
She saw him change, didn't she?
And then she tried to tell Buffy about it. And she wasn't able to. It's almost as though she completely forgot.
I don't know. Like, it's the dynamics of an inanimate object who is now a person.
Yeah.
And what that means as far as your memory goes, I don't know.
Especially when it involves some kind of prehistorical god who's hunting you.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here, and who the hell knows what's what. All we know is that Ben is Glory, and Glory is Ben. But also, that Ben's got a mad boner for the Slayer.
Yeah, again, like, why?
Is she so special?
Why? You could cut it to 50% and I'd be a lot more okay with it.
I feel ya. Yeah, if only there were dudes who weren't into Buffy.
Right.
But in this universe, that dude does not exist.
Well, you mentioned Oz, and it's like, Oz was laser focused on Willow.
Yes.
And he's one of those, like, if you're not a blossoming goth, you're not my type.
Yeah.
But he's a man of very specific tastes. But everyone else who is just out in the dating pool just seems to be super into Buffy. It doesn't mean they won't treat her like shit, like the boyfriend she had in college and with the beer bad.
Oh, the Parker guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't a boyfriend. He was a mistake.
I mean, I in retrospect, I like that episode a lot more than I did. And I liked that episode the first time. You know why?
Because it was real?
No, because this is a more satisfying way of Buffy mourning a relationship.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's stupid, but it's fun. And she punches her boyfriend and she's fine. And I'm like, oh, good. We don't need to sit and listen to her bitch about how no one wants her. Mm-hmm. No, clearly everybody wants you.
You just choose the wrong men.
Yeah. So that's Crush.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot there. And now we have a monster of the week, but the real monster is the man.
Yeah, the real monster is what is it? Male self-importance? Or is it entitlement?
I think it's male inability to deal with problems.
Okay.
So, like, building the sex robot and making it aware,
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a mistake. Yeah, but it's an understandable mistake.
Yeah, it's way better than what other incels are doing.
Right. And if he had just if he just, like, found some way to turn her off, say, hey, I need to do maintenance on you.
Yeah.
Because I'm worried about your longevity, and I think here's a better battery or something like that.
Your servos are squeaking. Let's take a look, baby.
Right. He could have done it, but he doesn't, like, he clearly doesn't want to kill her.
He just doesn't want to take responsibility for that which he
that
has
is the
wrought.
monster of this episode, is the inability to face what you've done. So, and correct it. So, there's this bitch who's wandering around saying, I need to find Warren. Are you Warren?
Yeah.
And we have a moment of Amber and Tara and Anya. I got it mixed up with the actress's name, which is Amber Benson.
Yes.
Uh-huh. I know these things.
I know what Amber Benson's name is, too.
Has she been in anything else that I would care about?
Not that I know of. However, she did... So John Scalzi wrote this book called Lock-In, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the course of the book, you can't tell if the main character is male or female. So when the audiobook came out, he had it read by a male and a female and issued them as separate books so you can pick which one you want.
Mm-hmm.
Amber Benson is the one who read the female side.
Okay.
The male side was read by Will Wheaton.
All right.
Like you do. Anyway, so yeah, she's still working at stuff, and she's a fantastic reader of audiobooks.
Sure.
That's the one I have, if you want
and
to
they're apparently Willow is good with computers, but neither Anya nor Tara are.
I just want to give you all a really quick taste of what you get for $1 a month. Strap in, guys. It's an exciting ride. This is Unspoiled, patrons only, covering Sharknado, Jessica Jones, The Room, Luke Cage,
Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand.
Firefly, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Black Mirror, The Cabin in the Woods, Sherlock, pretty sure you all know that one. I just gave you 10 reasons. 10 reasons! And that's not even all of them. We covered Ghostbusters. We covered The Avengers. We covered Civil War. We're going to be covering all kinds of stuff in the future for Harry Potter. Special episodes on the movies and on Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them and on some of the side story books and on Cursed Child. There is going to be so much stuff coming up. And it's $1. You guys, for realsies, you should do it. Become a patron. Patreon.com/unspoiled.
Sometimes people aren't. I've discovered this.
I do wish they talked more about it, because how do you explain a computer to someone from the Middle Ages? Like, where do you even start?
She's been around this whole time.
But most of her life has existed in a world without computers.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So there's not only is this a device that like you've not grown up with, but it's a device that does something that for 90% of your existence wasn't a thing that was done.
Okay, so I do IT for a living, and I interact directly with customers. And sometimes those customers are 75 years old.
Yes.
And this is exactly the experience it is. When I'm teaching them things like, so the window didn't disappear. It's just behind the other window. How do I explain that? Okay, so it's like you have sheets of paper on your desk. And if you take a sheet from the bottom of the pile and put it on top, you can't see your Post-it notes. That's exactly what's going on, only in your screen.
Right, but here you're talking to someone who has a concept of screen and window, and so if we were talking to someone from the Middle Ages, and it's like, oh, you can get information. Oh, it's like a book. Well, no,
It's
because
like
you
a
can
magic
interact
book
with
that
it.
talks to you.
Oh, you can draw on it. It's like, well, it has a
yes.
screen. What's a screen? You know the thing that keeps up mosquitoes? What are mosquitoes?
Well, Anya knows what a screen is because even if you're from the Middle Ages and you didn't play with computers, you did go to the movies and you do like television.
Yeah. So she's got a bit of a leg up, but it's, things move quickly. And remember that conversation I had with my mom on Sunday?
Yeah.
Or trying to get her to use the Chromecast correctly?
Oh, man. You guys. Like, I wanted to pour one out for him. It was hard to listen to. It's like, but you want me to hit forget the network? What if that's the wrong thing? What if it's forever? Mom, I need you just trust me and press the button. It's gonna be okay. I swear to you.
Now, as much as I love Chromecast because it's so fucking easy, but I also have the vocabulary to use a Chromecast. Like, I know, I have a smartphone. I know I can press. I know what that little symbol means.
Yes.
And we've forgotten that there was a time when you plugged your TV into the wall and you changed the channel, and that was it.
Yeah.
Now you do it, and it's like, okay, setting up. Give me your Wi-Fi connection, which someone may know, and they're like, okay, I want to watch Batman. I'll go to Netflix. Oh, what's your account? Right?
Yeah.
And who's watching? And it's like, who's watching? It's fucking me. It's like, there's a lot of steps that we've gotten used to. And yeah, and I don't know what the world... There's going to be a point where we're in our 30s. At some point, we're going to be lost like this.
Oh, no. Like, it's already starting to happen. I am foreseeing the time when I'm calling my nieces and nephews and being like, Hayden, I need you to come over. I can't work my phone anymore. And he's like, Auntie Chris, just use the neural network. Jesus, stop looking for buttons. There are no more buttons.
How do I full screen this? It's a hologram, sir.
Yeah. It's inside your eye.
Press the 3D button and that will full screen it? No, god damn it.
No one else can see what you're seeing, sir.
There is nothing more infuriating than watching someone type out www.google.com.
Oh my god, can I share a horror story with you?
Yes, you can.
So, I'm doing a demo for this new product that we've put on our website, right? And I've got a bunch of people in the room, and most of them are over 50. And I'm walking around trying to help people out, and one of my coworkers stops me. He's like, no. You have to see this. You have to see this right now. We had given them a URL to type in to get them to where they needed to be. She was typing it in to Ask Jeeves.
Oh, God.
I shit you not. I wish I was making this up.
Jeeves is still around?
Yes! She brought up Ask Jeeves and was putting the URL in there. It was for a demo site. Jeeves didn't know about it, but also, what the hell? You just put it in the top. It's gonna be okay. You don't have to go to Jeeves. Oh, God. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Also, the number of people I've had to tell to stop using Internet Explorer. And they don't believe me that it's bad until I explain that Microsoft doesn't even support it anymore. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. So, okay, I'm done. Back to Buffy.
Yeah. So, this bitch shows up, and she's asking everyone about Warren.
Yeah. And eventually, she actually finds someone who knows the motherfucker.
Well, there's the assholes in the cafeteria, and more shitty men who say, yo, you just missed him.
Yeah. Everyone's terrible to the robot, and I feel really bad for her.
Yeah, I do too, but she also can't comprehend that people are being terrible to her.
Yeah, but no one, helps her. No one, takes her aside and says, honey, are you okay? Why don't you tell us about this Warren? Mm-hmm. And, she'd tell about what a terrible person he is, but in a cheerful manner, because she doesn't understand that he was using her.
Right.
Or that it's wrong to be used. And, yeah, maybe someone would, get her a bus ticket or put her in counseling or something.
Mm-hmm. Dawn, we don't see much of Dawn this time.
Nah.
We talk more about Dawn than we hear from her.
Yeah.
Xander is, knows how to replace a window.
Yep, and he wants to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Look at me, I get screen time.
I kind of feel for Xander at this point, is that everyone's having experiences that you have no part in.
So he's taking pleasure in his work.
Yes.
And I can respect that.
And he's also demonstrating that, yeah, I'm an adult too, and I'm just learning different things.
Yeah. I'm learning carpentry.
Right.
Actually, that's kind of a great skill to have if your best friend is a slayer.
Exactly.
Think of all the spikes he can make.
Yeah, well, she just usually makes them by breaking off chair legs and shit.
Okay, yeah, but, like, maybe he can design a nice closet full of stakes or, like, a good weapons cabinet.
Like a fold-out drawer that you pull it up and...
Yeah. Like, did you ever see that movie Overboard? And he had that... This dude built a fancy, like, shoe closet where you turned a crank and the shoes would, like, come at you and rotate back and stuff. And it was really cool. You could build that for, like... axes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Angel would have more use for it than Buffy would, but...
I feel like Buffy is just a few years from finding her personal style. Mm-hmm. And that personal style will include...
spaghetti straps.
And a fancy weapons rack.
Yeah, Xander's still around, and he's the one who gives her, yeah, you'll find someone, and it's like... I don't think she will, because Buffy is a slayer, and... Yeah, we'll get to this at the end of the episode, because I have a lot to say about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so Warren has found another girl, or another woman, who, like, seems to like him for some reason.
No one knows why.
And it kind of doesn't matter. He's realized that, okay, like, I don't need to create a being to love me. I can actually go out and find things that make me happy. And, we've already kind of discussed the death, like, the cruelty and inhumanity of leaving her there.
Yeah, that was lame.
She throws Spike through a window, which is nice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And then she throws Buffy across the room.
That was less cool, but still kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of...
The thing about it is, though, Warren does this whole thing about how his robot girl was everything he wanted, and once he had it, he didn't want it anymore. And... I don't know about you, but I have seen this play out a lot.
You think so?
Yeah. So something happens to couples where they get together and you'll think, man, they are different. And they'll get together because one's wild and one's kind of tame and they like that about each other. And then gradually... they'll start changing one another in little ways. They'll change for each other and they'll change each other on purpose until they both lose the thing that actually made them interesting to the other person to begin with. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what happened with Robot Girl. He thought he wanted certain things, but then he decided those were dull as shit.
Well, there's a giant skipped step in this episode where there's building the robot, and then there's getting what you want out of the robot, personality-wise. And it's sort of... it just assumes he can complete that without needing to tweak it all. Like, he doesn't have to futz with her personality and how she responds and what gives her positive feedback, i.e. what she wants. It just sort of jumps to a fully formed consciousness that seems to understand everything other than, like, social interaction. So...
well, okay, so she actually did feel like a very basic AI in that she could take in stimulus and react to it in, like,
right, but there's steps between, personality, computer personality, and fully developed AI.
Okay, yeah. That's true. And I want to see the B-roll of him, like... within 1 week, getting fucking sick of this person interacting with him.
Mm-hmm. So,
like that would be interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So she goes on a rampage. Mm-hmm. She and then she finally confronts him and her girlfriend, and his girlfriend.
Yes.
And his girlfriend is dumping his ass, which is good. I was really worried about her. I thought he'd killed her. Or I thought the robot killed her.
Oh, yeah. I thought she killed her,
I'm
too.
like, that's not okay.
I really hope that she's not dead or has spine damage. Because they were hugging violently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then he realizes that the robot's not going to stop. So he says that he tells the robot that he doesn't love her. Okay, good step with honesty. Mm-hmm. And then he sabotages the whole goddamn thing by pointing at Buffy and saying, I'm in love with her, knowing that it would create a thing where the robot had to kill Buffy.
Right.
And really, who the fuck wrote that in? Is that a feature or a bug?
I don't know. Did he know Buffy could take her?
I think he suspected Buffy was the Slayer.
If he went to high school with her, then...
He saw her get the award and know that she can do some stuff.
Yeah, Buffy is not one to fight with, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she kind of rips her guts out, and then she sits with her while she dies.
Well, okay, so it was pretty evenly matched until the bot's battery started actually wearing down this time. And I think it might have been because of all the physical activity.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Buffy kind of does some major damage to her, and then she starts to power down, and they sit and have a little girl talk on the swings.
It reminded me of Black Panther, actually.
Yeah.
You know, when he's sitting down with Killmonger at the top.
Yeah, and they're like, I forget what they said. It was a really intense movie, and I only saw it once.
So you should see it again. It's really good.
I'm gonna.
So I saw it on the plane, and there were additional scenes added. So
wow.
Yeah, so it's
not already on Amazon or something.
Yeah,
so.
It's out for home consumption, and it's not a whole lot, but it fills in some of the gaps. Like you don't find out that Okoye and Wakabi are married until normal in a theater. We didn't find that out until they were about to kill each other.
Well, I figured they were together because they exchanged insults like a married couple.
I mean, sure, but we didn't have any confirmation that they were actually the first time I don't remember seeing them ever even exchange a glance. I had no way of knowing that these two were.
Did we see different versions of this movie?
We might have. Did they pull a clue?
They might have.
So.
Oh man. Okay, I just had a terrible thought I can't say on a podcast. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. So, yeah. So, poor thing powers down, and then Buffy goes home.
Yeah. So, do we need to talk about anything else about the robot part?
I don't think we do.
Or can we address...
I think we have to address
what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. So, Joyce is dead. And, guys... This has been spoiled for me for a while now, but it still hit hard.
My next question was, so did you see that coming?
Well, yeah, we've discussed this on the podcast.
No, but there's a difference between knowing it happens this season and seeing it coming in the last...
Oh, I totally saw it coming.
30 seconds of this episode. Because Joyce was happy?
Well, not just that. The second Natasha said she wanted to be on episode 16, I was like, I bet I know what's going to happen in this episode. So... Okay.
I don't know that
because Natasha has never guested with us before.
Not on this, no.
And she didn't I didn't ask anyone if they wanted to guest for any reason. She just out of the blue, hey, I want to guest with you on this particular episode. And I'm like, oh, clearly I know what's going down. So. Okay.
Still, the last 30 seconds of this episode.
I would say the last 4 seconds was just
Mommy.
Yeah. That kind of broke my heart.
Well, I'm glad that even though you were spoiled, it still packed a bit
It
of
really
a punch.
did, and it speaks to Sarah Michelle Gellar, the way she says "mommy" there, and just the way her face changes.
Yeah,
and it was really creepy to see Joyce laying there because
they did a good job of making her corpse-like.
Yeah,
that is.
There are very few movies and TV shows I've seen who have really captured that, just how suffocating it is to look at someone who used to be alive. And the only other one I can think of on top of my head is LA Confidential. Have you seen it?
I have, but it was
so when Kevin Spacey gets shot and he's looking up at his shooter and he says Rollo Tomasi and he kind of smiles and there's this the camera just stays right fucking on him and then he stops moving and stays there and looking the exact same way he did before, but you can tell that this man is dead now. The spark went out of him. Yeah. Yeah. And they did that with Joyce. I don't know how the fuck they did it, but she looks like an empty house. Yeah. So I knew that Joyce was going to die, and when she started having the brain aneurysm thing, like Buffy, I'm like, there must be some kind of supernatural explanation.
Yeah.
But it's a lot harsher in this world that Joyce is just going to die of natural causes.
Yeah.
And I don't believe you that fucking with her head is what caused it.
There's a lot of debate about it.
Then clearly we don't get an answer, but...
Well... Anyway, so... Yeah, so when it happened the first time, we all just, looked at each other and were like, the fuck? We gotta wait till next week? I don't even care if there's an angel on right now. What the fuck just happened?
We have to wait 3 weeks. Because of our particular schedule.
No, just 2.
Oh, that's right. But 3 episodes of Angel and 2 podcasts.
Oh,
so.
yeah. No, I was watching it with girlfriend last night in preparation for this, and at the end of the episode, girlfriend's like, well, shit, now I want the other one. I'm like, no, baby, no.
That's not how this works.
We can't. And she's like, I know, I hate podcasting. I hate it. She didn't actually say that with her words, but it was, palpable.
What? I can't watch things when I want them? Bitch, I am, you are not ready for TV.
Remember back in the day when we were slaves to the TV guide.
And now we're like, I'm not even going to start unless the entire series is over and on Netflix.
Yes.
Natasha!
I just started, rewatching Sex in the City so that I can see how problematic it is. And, yeah, it's at least I know how it ends.
Yeah, I don't know how the second movie goes, though.
Oh, the second movie never happened. There is no second movie. That's a terrible rumor made up by hateful people.
No, okay. So... Yeah, so Buffy is I threw this out when Rashawn was on, where the most poignant comparison is really someone who has cystic fibrosis.
Okay.
And that is something that is going to kill you and kill you young.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as Joyce has fought against the idea that she will live in a world where there is no Buffy, I kind of feel like off screen we've had some acceptance of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like Buffy has sort of, again, this is all assuming from how their relationship exists now, that Buffy has sort of accepted the idea that she will not survive her friends or her family.
Yeah, she fully expects to die first.
And now
there's a kind of peace in that.
She has a sister that she didn't have.
Yeah.
And she's got to be a mother to that sister. And Joyce is no longer here. It's a giant hole, and I don't know how the fuck Buffy is going to deal with this. I can't blame her. I hope the next episode is not her going to the magic shop and saying, I need a cure for death, and fucking now, because we know they exist. But yeah, there's going to be some grief processing here.
We'll see in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So, yeah. Do you have anything to add to all of that?
There's nothing I can say. But I do want some predictions.
So I've had a spoiler, so I know that the next episode is about grief. And how grief is dealt with.
Okay.
And that's going to be the focus of it. Other than that, I feel I don't know. The only thing I can think Buffy would do is try to find some way to reverse it.
Okay. That's a fair prediction.
We've seen dead people come back before.
Dead people come back all the time in Sunnydale.
Not as a vampire, but actually, Darla. Darla came back as a human being.
Yep.
So we know it's possible.
Yeah.
But I'm still salty at the writers because Joyce was not around last season, and that really bothered me. In that, especially knowing that she wasn't going to survive the season, not the season, but the series. Mm-hmm. In that, this is a really big time where your relationships shift.
Yeah, but how often did you see your parents when you were in college?
I mean, pretty much every day.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, like, I lived with them for a while, but at the same time, like, everything is changing.
Right.
When you're in college. And this is, you have to renegotiate the contours of what your relationship looks like. And we didn't get that with her. Like, Joyce really behaved as though Buffy was this long-lost cousin who crashed at her place every once in a while.
She was doing her best to give Buffy some space.
I didn't get that.
Some parents are like that.
I didn't get that from her. So, I just got, and she just wasn't around enough for me to really get anything about it. So we see her and like, she's moved all her shit into Buffy's room. And that's really the extent of how their relationship evolved over college.
So I like to think of the fourth season as an experiment that failed so hideously they pretended that Buffy wasn't going to school anymore.
I mean, but I feel like Buffy's gonna have to drop out. Like, I don't see her having the bandwidth in her life to have college as well as Dawn.
She was already into taking incompletes, so I'd say that there would have to be something serious to go down in order for Buffy to continue matriculating.
I feel like Buffy has too much on her plate.
She does have an awful lot.
I don't think it's helpful to add additional stress. So I hope Buffy drops out.
We'll find out.
I need Willow to play a part in this.
Okay.
Because Willow is her best friend.
Yes.
Is anyone else dealt with dead parents? I guess Giles, maybe. Anya's too far removed.
Yeah, and
Tara hates her parents.
Tara lost her mom, but it was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, Willow's got both folks. Xander's got both folks.
But he hates them.
For good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, it doesn't seem like a lot of people in Buffy's... Ironically, they haven't had to deal with death.
It's been my biggest... It's not just about the stakes. It's about none of these characters have really had to deal with loss.
Not
the biggest earth-shattering thing to happen for them has been breakups.
Well, I think that's because half of their graduating class died young.
But they weren't close to anyone. And they tried to shoehorn it in with the end of the first season when Willow's like, these are all my friends. And I'm like, fuck you. They're not even in the IMDb credits. Like, you don't get to do that.
You don't get to retcon friends, Willow.
Exactly. I'm not mad at Willow. I'm mad at the writers. It's like artificially raising the stakes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the closest thing we've had to see is Kendra. And that was all over the second it happened, so...
It was all over the second it happened, and, I mean, she had known them for a grand total of 3 consecutive days.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there were no stakes. No stakes were there.
So I feel like Buffy either needs to bust Faith out of jail...
Okay.
Or kill her. Because
Why?
She needs to retire.
You think killing Faith will make another Slayer rise?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's what you've led me to believe. Killing Buffy,
Well, Buffy, yeah.
Buffy's maybe brief death brought about Kendra, and then Kendra's dead, and now Faith is around, so...
Okay, yeah, that's...
It stands to reason taking out Faith will bring out another Slayer that can take her place. Because she'd be the only Slayer who ever gets to retire. And she's very much needs to right now.
Like, retire and move to Wyoming?
She needs to sell the house and move to fucking Siberia.
I think Wyoming's far enough.
I want some place with, like... a decent amount of, 20-hour days.
Alaska.
Yeah, Siberia is cheaper. So
Siberia is also where, shtetls are.
I think Buffy will be fine. Anyway, yeah.
Buffy is not fine in the shtetl!
I think she'll get out of it. You can't hold Buffy. All right. So, new patrons. Oh, wait. Guys, we have a guest next week.
Yeah, we do.
It's Natasha.
Yeah.
And we've kind of already mentioned that.
Actually,
so.
it's week after next, because next week's Angel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. So
Yep.
next Buffy, we have a guest, the lovely Natasha, who is our boss. So
The boss of us.
new patrons, we only have 3. Avery Vinson, Laura Allison, and Leon Dwan.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah. Make sure you're getting your patron benefits. Make sure your credit cards aren't declined. Those of you yeah, I've kind of taken a look. A lot of you have missed some payments. And I don't know if it's because you changed credit card numbers or something.
Hey, if you put it on your PayPal, it just auto does it.
Well, yeah, but if your PayPal credit card expires.
I usually just keep balance in my PayPal. But that's me.
Mm-hmm.
I use it for business.
But yeah, we need to keep the lights on, guys. So, hey, you know what we haven't had in a while?
What?
We haven't had you reading a new review.
God damn it. You're right, we haven't. Let's see. Okay, so Cassie Nova. Ooh.
She's the one who gave us our first non-5-star review, and we were really salty about that.
She is the first who gave us a non-5-star review, but it looks like she's making up for it. Yeah, go Cassie. All right, so 5 stars, title, one of the best. I'm so glad.
Hold on, should we read the old one first?
Okay, let's read the old one first. Okay, back in March, when she was only 1 episode in. In fact, the title of this review is 1 Ep In. I get that it's supposed to be a roast. Unfamiliar with the hosts prior, but the all white people are the same food nicknames made it hard to follow. I mean, point taken, but otherwise, I'm looking forward to hearing how opinions form as the cast continues. Thanks for the content. That was 3 stars back in March. Now we've come 3 months later, and here she is, 5-star review. I'm so glad that I stuck with this podcast. I was not previously familiar with the Unspoiled Network, and I admit that it took an episode or 2 to really get into it. But this podcast just kills me. I work in a kitchen, and this really helps get me through the long hours. I have absolutely fallen in love with you guys. Money is quite possibly my favorite podcast person in the world. Bitches is a close second. Yeah, I'm on the list. You're hilarious, insightful, and listening to you guys is like being at the best kind of geek party in town. Keep it coming, and thanks for the mention. Thank you, Cassie Nova. I really appreciate that.
Has she caught up already?
Yeah, that's the point. She's in a kitchen all day. She just listened to us.
Oh my God, we shamed her into changing. Yes.
She just listened to us for 3 months straight.
I figured you'd take a break at some point. All right. Thanks, y'all, Cassie. So, yeah, that's our show, guys. It's late, and we're gonna go,
Get high.
Well, speak for yourself.
Okay, yeah. Actually, I'm gonna go drink the rest of my soda because I'm not allowed to touch it while we're
Her
podcasting.
gulping is so loud, guys.
I can't help it if I have a loud...
I'm not blaming you.
larynx.
I'm just giving them information. Dude, I'm not saying it's a moral failing on your part.
I'm gonna do it into the mic just to show them. Are you ready, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I drink loud.
This is my life, guys, editing this shit out.
Family makes fun of me.
All right.
Gugunk.
We love you all. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next week with some Angel.
Happy Pride Month, Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.